Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in to the Establish the Run NBA DFS Injury Analysis Show for Thursday, February 23rd. We are back like we never ever left, back from the All-Star break. I am Gary Hartman filling in for Drew Dinkmeyer as he will be back fully for next week after the All-Star break. But we are back with the Thursday 9-game slate, joined by the one, the only, the FSWA Basketball Writer of the Year, Michael Gallagher. Mike, congratulations on that well-deserved award. How are you doing? How was your break?
Doing great. Yeah, great way to end the break. Winning an award is so honored. I got a lot of love from people. Try to get back to, I think, almost everybody. And yeah, I appreciate it, man. It was really cool. Definitely happy to win that. And definitely get the trophy. Maybe I could actually work on getting a background instead of using my green screen. I have no style at all. I have three TVs, my computers, and this green screen. That's like and a chair for Brody, of course. But it's been cool. I was pretty excited to win it yesterday.
Yeah, text your friend Shefty and any advice on how to get the nice shelf in the background of the video screen. So yeah, obviously well deserved. Anyone that works with you over here at ETR and even all of our subscribers with all the content you put out know how hard you work and how passionate you are about what you do. So very happy to see that recognized. Anyway, very happy to be back here. You know, usually our Tuesdays, Thursdays, maybe not as heavy of a slate, but on our first day back, we do have a 9-game slate here. So given that we've been off for about a week and, you know, most teams have something, whether it's a player coming back or an injury report cleaning up, we figured we'll go team by team today. I think it might be a little bit easier to kind of reset everybody for, the return of hoops tonight. So we're just going to go down the list here in the order that the official NBA injury report goes, and we'll hit each team on any relevant news. So we'll dive in right there, starting with the Boston Celtics. They are on the road in Indiana tonight. Pretty clean injury report, but do get Jaylen Brown and Time Lord back tonight.
Yeah, we saw Jaylen Brown get the mask, and we're going to get Time Lord back. So, yeah, we haven't seen this lineup in a while, right? Because Marcus Smart was out. So we should see this starting lineup that was the best lineup in the NBA last year. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Time Lord at the center spot, and then Al Horford. Certainly his rates are going to get cratered. We'll see what kind of minutes limits are coming. Tatum was coming off that illness in the last game, certainly looked fine. So, yeah, expecting, pretty normal rotation. We'll see what Malcolm Brogdon's minutes look like. We saw his minutes really climb up there without Smart, without Brown to a degree. But, definitely, pretty close to full firepower here on the Celtics team.
Yeah, obviously good to see for them. On the other side of that game, Indiana do have their 2 G League guys, Trevelyan Queen and Kendall Brown, questionable. Anything else of note there for the Pacers?
They get their bigs back, and Daniel Tice. We saw Isaiah Jackson get dinged up, but we saw in the last game they started TJ McConnell, and it did not go well. Rick Carlisle said it was bad coaching because he kind of read between the matchups too much. So definitely expecting them to go back to Andrew Nembhard in the starting lineup here. Kind of quite obviously, you need an on-ball defense in the worst way in the Boston matchup. So could see Nembhard's minutes, maybe get back up to 30 today.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely can use his defense there. Going over to the next game on the list here, the Cleveland Cavs at Denver Nuggets. The Cavaliers, pretty clean injury report other than Ricky Rubio listed out as they are on the front end of a back-to-back. I'm assuming that is the reason for this out tag, and anything else on the Cavs there?
No, pretty good shape here. They've been generally healthy. We saw the break probably helped Donovan Mitchell playing through that groin. We saw Darius Garland playing through the thumb injury, getting taped up. Mobley's been playing big minutes. Okoro, matchup-wise, actually somewhat could be interesting. We'll talk about Jamal Murray in a second.
Yeah.
But his minutes were kind of spiking a little bit. But not having Rubio could also help him. We saw Rubio get a little bit of overlap. Certainly helps LeVert to really run the show. They're pretty confident of him, handling that second unit, being staggered with one of the star guards.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you mentioned Jamal Murray on the other side of that game. Nuggets do have some injury stuff going on here. Aaron Gordon still out with the rib contusion. And then they do have Jamal Murray and Jack White, G-League guy. But Jamal Murray listed questionable with the knee. Any thoughts on Jamal? You expect him to go tonight? And anything else on Denver?
Yeah, I've been popping up the wrong box scores in the wrong windows. Rusty offseason, rusty week for me. Yeah, Murray's good to go. Went through practice. that they're kind of being cautious with the Q tag. Maybe their game time, but really all indications are he's going to be out there. Quotes from Mike Malone saying they could have played him in the last game before the break and wanted to be safe. Still got the win. So, yeah, feel pretty good about Jamal Murray getting the start. Would see, we saw Malone actually talk up Aaron Gordon a lot. Sounded like he was going to play, and then Aaron Gordon basically said like, "Oh no, I'm not." So surprising, right? I mean, we've seen guys with rib contusions not missing games. TJ Warren hurt all the time; he didn't miss.
Yeah.
But so a little scary here. Hopefully everything's all right with Aaron Gordon, but expecting. I think they'll go bigger. I think they'll go Vlaco, Conchar, but they're definitely smaller and play Bruce Brown. That's a big ask of Michael Porter Jr. And we'll talk more about this in matchup stuff in the DFS show. But if they start Bruce Brown, like that could make Evan Mobley really nice target matchup wise. Dare throw MPJ on him.
Yeah, that's a great point. It should be a fun game. Only 2.5 point spread there in Denver, so should be a fun one. We'll talk more about the intricacies of what lineups might look like on the 5 o'clock DFS show. All right, going over to a matchup between Detroit and Orlando. Detroit definitely has a handful of names here on the injury report. Marvin Bagley doubtful, Cade and Nerlens Noel still out. You would think the Bagley injury means much, but they have a million random centers does Detroit. So what are you expecting out of the Pistons now that, Wiseman's had another week or so with the team and everything going on there?
Yeah, Bagley practiced, so it sounds like he's going to be ready for the next one based on the duffel tag. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets upgraded here. So, just to add that. But, believe him here. They've been out for a long time, so expecting him to miss. One thing I wanted to highlight, and we talked about this a lot, was the report from Mark Spears, who is awesome at his job. He's Hall of Fame. Nominated as well, so congrats to him. But, that report that they plan to start Weissman, what does that mean? Does it mean they start him over Jalen Duren? God, I hope not. Does it mean they go double big? I think that's feasible that they do that. Right. So something to watch there. We've always kind of took it with a grain of salt that this may mean, way down the line. But they may just want to put Duren in the second unit for all we know. So, keep an eye out for that news lurking because, definitely a credible report coming there. And then that would obviously, if they go bigger, they're going to be playing the rotation significantly larger. So, Stewart would be a straight 4 if it's one of the two. You'd be seeing fewer minutes from Isaiah Livers and so on. But it sounds like Nerlens Noel is probably going to get bought out what he is till March 1st if he wants to join a playoff team. So it's just something we're not expecting him to really play again for the Pistons.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Other side of that game, Orlando, as clean as an injury report has mostly looked for them. Just the G League guys there as listed it out. So Jonathan Isaac should be good to go. Cole Anthony is back from the wrist. How are you expecting this Magic rotation to look?
It should be pretty similar to what we were seeing. Garrett Harris, the first unit there. Wendell Carter Jr. We'll see if his minutes tick up. Maybe the All-Star break to help his plantar fasciitis issue that he's been dealing with. And we'll see if Jonathan Isaac's minutes come up. We saw him pretty strict on that 8 to 12 kind of window. Maybe he comes up more. Have my doubts that he gets like more than 15, 16. But Houston, like as you mentioned, is not going to be there, so he'll definitely be going away. Obviously, Terrence Russell and the Suns now, so we should have a pretty good feel for this rotation. We'll see how many minutes Jalen Suggs gets. Maybe they can run together a little bit. Certainly benefited in a significant way without Cole Anthony playing one of his best games of the season with 24 points. So he's a guy that maybe can kind of pick up where he left off, even though the rotation will be changing somewhat significantly.
Nice. Another fun game on the eastern coast of this country, Memphis visiting Philadelphia. Memphis still without Steven Adams. New addition Luke Kennard is out. No Zaire Williams, who's in the G League, and same with Jake LaRavia as well. So, some depth concerns here a little bit. We saw a mix before the break of Brandon Clark starting and Xavier Tillman starting. What do you expect to see out of the Grizzlies starting rotation tonight? Do you think they go big against Embiid, or would they continue to start Clark here?
Yeah, you think it's a matchup thing, right? You think they would just put a bigger body. We saw, and I wanted to jam Tillman's unders in this game, but even before the starting news. But it just made sense that this would happen. We kind of thought it was going to happen over time, but you want to get as many true sentiments as you can, and you can't do that if you're starting Brandon Clark. You're really cutting yourself down. You're putting him or Jaren Jackson, who, my God, you do not want Jaren Jackson guarding Joel Embiid with his foul propensity there. So, I would expect Tillman to start, but expect, probably more of the truest center minutes there. We saw them go small. We've seen some comments from Taylor Jenkins wanting to play Santi Aldama a little bit more with Jaren. But yeah, definitely feels like more of a Tillman spot to play the matchups. But maybe they don't. Maybe they, maybe they even start. I wouldn't be shocked if they start Santi, honestly, and throw him to the Wolves. But definitely, it seems like a Tillman spot here.
Yeah, and we saw with Kennard when he played in that backcourt yesterday, I guess they went 10 deep. You expect them to go 9 here tonight? Or would they bring somebody else into the rotation?
I think they might go 9. Yeah, I don't, because Zaire's down, so they'd have to probably bring him back up. I don't think they would go. So they would probably go 9.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see there. Philadelphia side of things, nothing really of note. Dwayne Dedman, obviously somebody they brought over around the deadline. Questionable with hip. I mean, not too much there. Slam dunk champ Mac McClung did sign. He's out in the G League. So any notes on Philadelphia?
Pretty straightforward. Again, same thing with Embiid. Maybe the time off helped him. They didn't list him, right?
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, not listed. That's the first time in a while. So maybe we get blessed with not having a Joel Embiid game time decision tag today.
Yeah, which is nice. No stress on the Embiid side, and it's not even one of the earliest starts on the slate. It's a 7:30, not a 7. So, usually we're like, all right, Embiid's on the report, but at least we're going to know. Obviously, you would know earlier, but it's nice to not have that stress. All right, next game, Pelicans Raptors on the New Orleans side of things. They're getting a little healthier here. Larry Nance probable, Dyson Daniels probable. Still no Zion. I haven't heard so many positive reports out of that camp, but good for them to be getting Dyson and Nance back. Thoughts on the Pels here tonight?
Yeah, getting Dyson Daniels back is interesting. We've seen Kyra Lewis sneak into the rotation. Would assume that kind of goes away. Alvarado's obviously been, kind of locking down minutes. We saw Trey Murphy minutes kind of get cut, struggling a little bit there with having Herb. Definitely more of a matchup thing to play a little bit bigger there. I think that they're going to kind of go back to the traditional lineup. So I expect Trey to play a little bit more. And I just got to add one thing. So I was looking for Larry Nance stuff. I didn't pay attention to any basketball stuff. I mean, Larry Nance had what a great tweet, man. Tweets out this thing of the dog having Alvarado in him. Just one of the greatest tweets I've seen in quite some time.
That's funny.
Quite the Twitter follow, but just wanted to shout that.
Not surprising at all.
I watched. Do you watch any? I watched zero basketball.
So I was at a bar for the Saturday night stuff for a friend's birthday, and it was on. So I had like one eye on it, but I wasn't paying too much attention to it. And then the Friday night stuff, I just watched Quentin Grimes highlights, who also had a great game on the Friday. But yeah, not at all surprising that Jose Alvarado tried very, very hard in the Rising Stars game. Not surprising. Raptors side of things, we finally get an OG questionable tag after he's been out for it seems like forever. Thad Young also questionable here. Otto Porter still out. Are you expecting to see OG back tonight?
We are, yeah, definitely should be back. Would expect him to get the start. Went through full practice. Wrist thing was prolonged. Certainly the speculation of the trade stuff could be there, but yeah, we saw Pirtle just completely smash. I mean, how do you take that dude out of the lineup when he has one of the biggest stat lines of the season? 15 to 17 from the field for 30 points, 6 blocks and a steal. Just absolute smash mode. I talked a lot about this. Shout out to me. I was like, I think they might pay Pirtle a ton just because Nick Nurse is a crazy person, and they did. So we'll definitely talk more about that later. But I'm expecting him to start. I'm expecting a bigger-ish lineup of Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Jakob Poeltl. Certainly seeing a decent amount. We could see a real tight, 7-8 man. Thad expected to play. Why? I don't think they even need to go there. Right. So could see a giant backcourt, or I should say, front court depth of Chris Boucher, Precious Achua, a little bit of Trent filling in the gaps, and it could be that's it. We love 8-man rotation. Certainly this team's rested. They got to win games. There's a quote from Fred VanVleet saying they'll get up to the 6th seed. So, they got to get every win they can. Tough matchup against New Orleans out of the gate.
Yeah, we know Nick Nurse loves his giant lineups. And, especially I'm still shocked that they didn't sell off any pieces. And then when they bought Pirtle, I mean, they have to win. They're just going to try to win. And it'll be interesting for DFS purposes for sure. Going down there to Dallas. So, still no Maxi Kleber. They need him back in the worst way. I'm curious if you've heard anything there. I don't know what his timeline is. And no Davis Bertans, but Kyrie should be good to go. Luka good to go here. THJ not listed. So aside from that front court depth that they need in Maxey and Bertans, they should be pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see if THJ sticks in the second unit. I think he would go in there. They seem pretty comfortable with Green being kind of their on-ball guy, Bullock being, their main wing defender. Today it doesn't really matter. They're going against the Spurs. I would guess Green gets probably Branham, and then Bullock gets Keldon. But yeah, a lot of minutes from Kyrie coming, a lot of minutes from Luka coming. We'll see if Christian Wood is playing pretty well. We saw his minutes be really cut when Kyrie first got there. Maybe it's a thumb-related thing, but maybe he can hang around 22, 23 minutes. And Maxey could eventually could really cut him down. So yeah, a little bit nervous about where Wood could be. Kleber, who's trending up, it looks like he's going to be able to maybe return in like a week or so.
Yeah, that's great. They need him in the worst way. Yeah, I mean, this will be a fascinating one to talk through at 5:00 because they're 2 touchdown favorites in San Antonio. They're 14-point favorites right now, the Mavs. But the projections on guys like Luka and Kyrie are going to be insane in this matchup. So we'll talk that through at 5 Eastern. It's mentioned that they're playing the Spurs on the other side, still dealing with a handful of injuries here. Obviously, Vassell's going to still remain out, but no Langford, no Roby. Ken Burch is listed out, and Trey Jones is doubtful. And then we have Jeremy Sohan, who had started to play really, really well, is questionable here. So I guess, first of all, do you expect Sohan to play, and how do you expect the Spurs to approach their starting situation tonight?
Yeah, don't have much on Sohan. Worth noting, this is the same quad he hurt that cost him time. Got injured on, I believe, January 26th. And he was labeled with this injury a couple times. Sounded like it was maybe back-to-back, but not great to get a Q tag out of the gate after the break. So a little bit nervous there. They would probably start Blake Wesley, right? We saw them go to Blake Wesley when they missed Sohan the last game, and they've been using Sohan as like their on-ball defender for defense, and asking Branham to do a pretty good amount of ball handling on top of Sohan as well, getting more paint touches and more elbow touches as well. So yeah, it would sneakily affect Blake Wesley there, and then Brandon's minutes could be really secure, Keldon, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, if the Spurs can hang, and the Mavs, they've got some defensive issues on their own. That sounds like a big spread. I wouldn't be surprised if they can, maybe take this to, maybe 5 minutes before it's garbage time, in a pretty high scoring game. So I think it's a pretty good game environment.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk that through. Also, Brandon was a guy that's still only 4,500 on DraftKings, so starting to put up some points in these expanded roles before the break. I know a guy that you and I both like to watch, so we'll talk guys like him through. OKC, not much there, nothing really new. Poku still out. I don't know if there's any time frame there. And then Jang is on G League assignment as well. But other than that, they're pretty set in OKC.
Yeah, we saw somewhat surprisingly that Jay Will, aka J Dub, popped off. 26 minutes, 16 boards, played really well. Got talked about after the game. I was expecting, and I'm sure most people were expecting, a minute ceiling to come down a little bit with Dario Saric, Jeremiah Robinson early in the mix there. So I think he's earned a role. So I think this could be, OG Mayuri, and even playing a little bit bigger, playing those guys as like 4-5s, to maybe cut into Kenrich Williams, Omayuri, maybe to a lesser degree Aaron Wiggins, taking away some of the 3 minutes there if you do slot J Dub into more of a 3 than a 3-4. Right. So I think that there's still a path, and just I have a decision to make on starting him in my 30-man league. J Will, I'm obviously starting J Dub, but yeah, I think he's in an okay spot. Real dicey to play him on a big slate, but something we're going to be watching for sure. And should mention Lou Dort on a minutes cap from his hamstring. That's probably coming up today.
Okay,
he could probably play a little bit more today.
Yeah, I'm always terrified of playing some of these fringe Thunder guys on big slates, just because even with them shipping out Muscala, even with Poku on the shelf, they have you see that box score there. I mean, obviously that wasn't a blowout, but they have so many bodies that Dagno is comfortable playing. So it's shaky, but we'll talk it through as well. They are visiting the Utah Jazz. No Colin Sexton here, out with the hammy. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else there on Utah.
Yeah, this is a big one because they're real thin at guard. And I saw when Leandro Bolmaro got weighed, they're clearly bringing in some point guards for Colin Sexton there. So if they didn't, they would have had literally one true ball handler in Taylor Horton-Tucker, who's just skyrocketing right now. So the question you ask yourself, are they going to play Chris Dunn? Are they going to play? I think Chris Dunn would be ahead of Frank Jackson. if they are not going to play them and they're just getting depth, they're only 10 days. I think that they would start Agbaji. I think they would start Jordan Clarkson, Agbaji, Lauri Markkanen, Kelly Olynyk, and Walker Kessler, aka Blocker Kessler, with Taylor Horton-Tucker still getting a ton of minutes. Would be picking. I would say if he's off the bench, we'd probably put him at like 28. If he's starting, we might put him like 31, 32. But the role has been outrageous, man. Just huge drive numbers, huge ball handling numbers. So Taylor Horton-Tucker certainly mooning. If he's your season long, I don't know how he's not picked up already, but could see a little bit more Montescano Anderson. Simon Fontecchio could see some more minutes. But Agbaji, shooting a bunch. We saw him fire away without Lauri Markkanen. Those guys could all really benefit. We saw Olynyk's minutes really spike, but he'll come down a little bit now with Markkanen down. But Agbaji, Taylor Horton-Tucker, definitely guys who I think are on the radar today.
Yeah, it seems like THT will be your decision point of the night in DFS tonight, looking like the chalk of the evening. We'll talk that through. Yeah, he's like in the fours still.
Oh my god.
So 4,800. Has small forward as well. So it's gonna be crazy. I have a best ball team that advanced that has Taylor Horton-Tucker on it actually. So I've been enjoying that.
He's on my 30-man team. So I'm excited for that.
So really, really crazy stuff there. We'll talk that through how to approach that DFS wise, because that's a huge one for tonight. All right, 2:10 p.m. Eastern games. We got Golden State and the Lakers. Should be a fun one, but Golden State still without Steph, Iggy, Gary Payton, Andrew Wiggins is out for personal reasons here tonight. So a little bit thin on Golden State. I know I saw that Steph was supposed to be reevaluated about a week ago for a week, so we should be getting an update on Steph hopefully soon. But I guess before, if you have any information on that, how are you expecting the Warriors to look tonight?
Yeah, just to add with Steph, going through non-contact in practice, he'll be updated again next week, which is pretty standard. So that's, I would guess, he probably gets upgraded to contact when that update comes, which puts him out probably another week. So I'm anticipating like a March 7th-ish kind of return for him. Probably expecting DiVincenzo to start. We kind of thought Kuminga would get the start in the last game against the big wings. I think they're comfortable putting Draymond on LeBron if they want to go that route. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Kuminga here. Kuminga should play a pretty good bit. They're on a back-to-back. Curious to see how they approach this. Worth noting, I think they've been in LA for a few days. They kind of landed earlier, so I'm curious to see if they or LA nightlife affects them on the front end of a back-to-back, knowing they're going to be flying out tomorrow to go back home. Against the Rockets, by the way. But certainly I'm leaning DiVincenzo to start, Kuminga to benefit as well. Lamb maybe picks up some minutes. Kevon Looney should play a pretty good bit. Who's going to have his hands full against, we'll see how they match it up with. I think they probably put him on Anthony Davis, let Draymond kind of roam and help and stuff.
Yep, for sure. And, not as much value as you would think, at least on DraftKings on the Warriors, because like guys like Poole and Clay are really fully priced here. So, it'll be a conversation to have for DFS purposes. Other side of this, Lakers pretty good. Mac Christie in the G League, but LeBron and AD both listed probably here. Obviously, always some risk there, but I think we're expecting both Lakers stars to go tonight.
Yep. Darvin Ham basically said they're going to run this lineup out there again. Mentioned on the playback that, man, they are leaning into Malik Beasley on-ball defender. That is troublesome. So I think you probably know where I'm going later for some A bets and B possible flag plants there. But they're real. I mean, this is a big concern for me is how they're going to play on-ball defense, and they're going to play it with Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder with a little bit of Austin Reeves as primary ball defenders, which is quite bad. So great. Take for that what you wish.
Yeah, for sure. Not what you want there. If you're, it is what the Warriors want. Not what you want for the Lakers. All right, last game of the night, Portland, Sacramento. Yeah, that's a fun one. Obviously, two teams fighting for Western playoff positioning. Portland, still no Nurk. No Anthony Simon's going to be out for a little bit here. Justice Winslow still just listed out, a guy that they could definitely use back with Simons on the shelf for sure. But obviously we've seen Drew Eubanks start before, while Nurk has been out. We saw Shaedon Sharpe have a bigger role. Obviously Josh Hart is gone, so we saw Cam Reddish and Matisse Thybulle have bigger roles. What are you expecting now? More of the same for Portland or anything different coming out of the break?
Yeah, so we know we've got most of the starting lineup set. We know we're going to be getting Damian Lillard. We know we're going to get Jeremy Grant back in the starting lineup. And we know we're going to probably get Drew Eubanks. Can't imagine that changes. So that leaves, according to Chauncey Billups, 3 guys for the 2 wing spots. Those 3 guys are Shaedon Sharpe, who's been more or less their third guard, subbing in, filling in the Dame and Simons minutes. The new guys, Cam Reddish and Matisse Thybulle, who started the last game where they needed 2 forwards. So the depth has shifted without Simons, and they're going to play a little bit bigger here. I think that they go with the new guys. I think they would go Dame, Matisse Thybulle, on-ball guy. He'll be guarding De'Aaron Fox. Cam Reddish, Grant should be pretty good on minutes. He sounded like the concussion wasn't a big concern. And then Eubanks getting the Sabonis assignment. So we saw Cam Reddish's minutes really climb. There was some commentary early from Billups saying that they want to run a pretty hard cap on him. I think this was a back-to-back game, if I remember. And he got 33. That blew us away. So
yeah.
I think he's kind of won the heart. There was comments on Billups of him, making mistakes, not really being ready. So I feel pretty good that Reddish has the inside track, and then I feel pretty confident that Sharp's going to come off the bench. I don't think they want to really adjust his role too much and just let him kind of be there because he's been kind of doghoused at times. But he could play a lot if he's playing well. Kings up-tempo game could really see him getting it going there. But expecting those 3 guys to quite clearly benefit.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting DFS spot with Thybulle, Sharp, and Reddish all on the 3Ks as potential value late night spots. But, they do have Jeremy Grant here coming back now to eat up some more usage, potentially, fill in for some of that Simons usage for sure. So he'll be an interesting spot to look at tonight as well. Other side of this game, Kings pretty healthy. Malik Monk had missed a couple games before the break, is back here, not listed tonight. Really no one listed other than KZ Okpala out. So, should see that same starting lineup we've seen all year for Sacramento.
Yep. We'll see Terrence Davis' minutes get cut. Played pretty well. Had a big game against Dallas, filled in some minutes pretty well there. So he would go away. Haven't seen Davion Mitchell be affected really. Trey Lyles has kind of got some center minutes here and there, but that could hurt him just a bit as well. But pretty straightforward with the Monk stuff. Curious to see how Herter was Herter and Keegan have been able to have a little bit more leash because they really want to play Monk. But good matchup, right? Really good offense against a really bad defense in the Blazers. We'll see if maybe taking Simons off, who's not a very good defender, helps them. But great spot. These late games, man, are great hammers. It looks like tonight. We'll definitely talk more about it later.
Yep. And so I think that'll just about do it for the injury stuff here. We'll be back at 5:00 Eastern. I will throw it to Gallagher to, of course, tell you about our friends that support the people that support us.
I don't have the script in front of me, but you guys know that
you have it in your head.
Support the people, support us. This show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. They have daily NBA snake drafts for real money. That's been, we just did actually should add. We just had a podcast that we recorded that'll be talking about Underdog best ball for NBA, great players, bad players, strategies that worked with me in class. So, shout out to Underdog. Use promo code ETR at check to get a $100 deposit match at underdogfantasy.com. That's promo code ETR. But that pod was fun. Chris Lafagas is the best ball guru of the bunch, and he had a bunch of the goods, man. It was really cool. And we did not draft enough Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Lauri Markkanen.
Never enough SGA.
So we talked a lot about mistakes and things we'd learned and things we got right, wrong. It was really cool. You guys will like it. Should be on your feeds probably in like an hour or two, hopefully.
Awesome. I can't wait to listen to that one myself. And as I mentioned, we will be back at 5:00 Eastern behind the paywall, Mike Gallagher and myself. I believe tomorrow will be Mike and Fan on the Friday Injury Show, and then Mike and myself on the 5:00 Eastern show as well. If you do not want to support us with your hard-earned dollars, I have Dink's shtick in my head as well. Please support us with your hard-earned clicks. Please show us a like, subscribe to the Established Run NBA page, ding that bell so you get all the notifications when we go live. Help us feed that algorithm. We'll be here with you for this home stretch of the NBA season. About 20 to 25-ish more games to go, even though it was the halfway point of the All-Star break. We were really here at the home stretch. A lot of fun NBA basketball ahead. We'll catch you behind the paywall at 5:00 Eastern, or we will see you tomorrow. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care, everyone.